In the following video, on a deserted night highway in Saskatchewan, where there is only darkness and endless Canadian forest, a police DVR recorded something disturbing. The headlights pick out a huge figure from the darkness, walking along the road with frightening calm. The creature does not react to the car, does not accelerate, and does not show fear. This is the official record, and it leaves more questions than answers.
Unit 30, I'm on County Road 9 northbound. You copy this?
Go ahead, 30.
I've got, I don't even know, massive subject walking the shoulder, looks like a large male.
Looking at the physical proportions in this footage, we see classic Sasquatch morphology. Notice the no-neck silhouette. The head appears to be tucked directly into the massive trapezius muscles, creating a conical shape that is nearly impossible for a human in a costume to replicate convincingly. The shoulders are incredibly broad, spanning what looks to be at least 3 feet across. Even more telling is the arm length. If you look at the creature's left side, the hand reaches down toward the knee level. In human anatomy, the fingertips usually rest at mid-thigh. This elongated limb-to-torso ratio is a primary indicator of a non-human primate. The way the light reflects off the figure's coat is another point of interest. It isn't the flat, dull sheen of synthetic fur. It has the texture of living, matted hair that holds depth and shadow. The creature's gait, described by the officer as heavy and deliberate, is footage here mid-stride. There is a fluidness to the movement, a mid-tarsal break, suggested by how the weight is distributed on the gravel shoulder. This giant isn't startled by the patrol car. It doesn't look back or exhibit the flight or fight response of a deer or a bear. It shows a total indifference to human technology, behaving as an apex predator that knows it is the master of its environment. When we use the road markings and the height of the vehicle's hood for scale, we are looking at an entity that stands well over 7 feet tall. The sheer mass required to fill out that silhouette is staggering. This official footage leaves little room for trick of the light theories. We are looking at a living, breathing mystery that stepped out of the folklore and into the glare of a dashcam. What do you think? Is this the definitive proof of the Saskatchewan Bigfoot? Let me know in the comments and stay vigilant. In early April 2014, a man named Will came across a set of unusual footprints while hiking in the mountains of Genoa, Nevada. According to the Sierra Tahoe Bigfoot research blog, Will is an experienced tracker who spent significant time outdoors. While following fresh deer tracks, he noticed something odd. The deer prints abruptly stopped in a steep canyon, but large human-like footprints continued through the same area. Will photographed 15 of these prints, which appeared broader and deeper than typical human tracks, suggesting that something heavy had passed through. The remote and rugged location only added to the mystery, given Will's expertise in identifying wildlife signs. The research group regarded his discovery as more credible than many casual sightings. The blog does not claim this proves the existence of Bigfoot, but it does highlight how skilled outdoorsmen sometimes encounter unexplained evidence in the wilderness. The Genoa Trackway remains one of Nevada's better documented cases, thanks to a knowledgeable witness, thorough notes, and clear photographic records of the tracks. So, what do you think? Could these be genuine Bigfoot prints, or is there another explanation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. A lone photographer was hiking near the remote springs of Utah when he suddenly heard the crunching of leaves and branches in the trees. Startled, he quickly swung his camera in the direction of the noise and caught sight of something truly chilling. A massive, dark, two-legged figure slid silently between the trees, moving deliberately as if it were observing him in return. The shape paused for a moment, then disappeared into the shadows, and the footage abruptly cut off without any explanation. A hunter carefully sets up a trail camera at the edge of his remote campsite before packing his gear and leaving the area for the day. The forest appears calm and undisturbed as he disappears down the trail, unaware of what will unfold in his absence. Hours later, the camera records unexpected movement between the trees. A large, Bigfoot-like figure slowly emerges from the shadows, standing at a short distance as if studying the campsite. The figure remains still for several moments, its massive frame partially obscured by brush, suggesting caution and awareness. After observing, it begins to move closer, step by deliberate step, until it reaches the hunter's tent. The creature briefly inspects the structure before gripping the fabric with one hand, tugging at it as if testing its contents or scent. After several tense seconds, the figure releases the tent and retreats back into the forest, vanishing as silently as it appeared. The footage concludes later when the hunter returns to camp, casually going about his routine, completely unaware that his camera has captured something extraordinary while he was gone. A Reddit user was hiking through the Appalachian mountains, snapping photos along the trail. While on this particular hike, he began feeling an unexplained sense of unease and decided to cut his hike short. Later, when reviewing his photos, he noticed something puzzling. Near a cluster of rocks, there was a dark shape that didn't resemble the surrounding trees or stones. His details were hard to make out, but it clearly stood out. The hiker says he would have noticed if it were a bear, but he's unsure what it could be. He suspects it might have been Bigfoot silently observing him. What's your take on it? While hiking up a mountain when man says he spotted a Bigfoot walking ahead of him. Take a look.
Bigfoot went up into that cave. I just saw Bigfoot.
Unfortunately, he didn't manage to capture the creature, only his reaction. Without concrete evidence, many remain skeptical of his claim. The hunter, during the inspection of the new hunting grounds, placed the camera at the creek, and at 5:57 p.m., with the sun long gone and the temperature a brisk 52 degrees, the infrared flash triggered, catching something that should not be there. Take a look at the far left margin, just behind that thick foreground tree. While the rest of the woods seems standard, we have a clear, dark mass that breaks the verticality of the timber. What we are seeing here is classic peeking behavior, a trait reported by thousands of witnesses worldwide. The creature is using the diameter of the tree to obscure its bulk, but it couldn't hide the most compelling piece of evidence, the eyeshine. Notice the height of those two glowing orbs. Based on the surrounding saplings, we are looking at a set of eyes positioned roughly 7 to 8 feet off the ground. The density of the shadow behind the tree is too solid to be a trick of the light or pixelation. There is a physical volume there that absorbs the infrared light differently than the leaves. If this were a bear, we would expect a different snout profile. But here, the eyes are forward-facing and set into a wide, heavy brow. The sheer shoulder width suggested by the dark shape behind the bark points toward a massive, muscular build consistent with Sasquatch morphology. Is this a resident of the creek bed watching the intruder, the camera with curiosity? The placement is too deliberate for a stray animal. This is a predator or a high-level scout observing its territory. What do you think? Is this the definitive proof we've been waiting for? Or just a trick of the night? Drop your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and sub for more Deep Woods analysis. In 1969, Alan Plaster captured footage of a strange white-haired figure near Lake Worth, Texas. Soon after, locals reported sightings of a 7-foot-tall creature with a goat-like face, long claws, and a terrifying scream. Vehicles were scratched, residents panicked, and then the creature vanished, leaving only its legend behind. Fast forward to 2025, and a new video emerged showing a dark, fur-covered figure in the same area, this time filmed in daylight.
Look at it close up right here. As you can see, it's all black. Massive. Easily a 9-footer. Check it out. Look at its gray beard. You can even see its face. Look at its nose right there. You see it? This was recorded in East Texas. Massive creature.
Some dismissed it as a hoax, while others insisted it was evidence that the Lake Worth monster had returned. Here's another fairly strange Bigfoot capture. This one reportedly comes from a golf course in Pennsylvania. According to the caption, the image was taken by a trail camera in 2023 and shows what is described as a dark, hulking figure standing between 6 and 7 feet tall. The figure was allegedly spotted near the 9th hole at dusk. The photo itself is quite grainy, but it clearly shows a creature with what many would consider a textbook Sasquatch appearance. The figure appears to be partially concealed behind a fallen tree. Even though the image was captured at night by a trail camera with limited low-light capability, the subject is still surprisingly visible. Take a close look at the face. It appears human-like, yet distinctly primal. Exactly how Bigfoot's facial features are often described. From the pronounced bone structure to the slightly puckered, oversized lips, the broad nose, large forehead, and prominent brow ridge, nearly every detail aligns with classic Bigfoot descriptions. The body proportions also fit what witnesses frequently report. I believe this image may have even been featured on the well-known show Finding Bigfoot. What makes this sighting especially interesting is the location. A Bigfoot appearing near a golf course is unusual, but many courses are fairly remote and often surrounded by wooded areas. In theory, a creature like this could easily move through, or even take shelter in such an environment at night. Still, this may be the first reported Bigfoot capture from a golf course. Let me know what you'd do if you ever ran into a Bigfoot while out golfing. Let's take a look at another unique and highly convincing Bigfoot video. This footage was uploaded on July 28th, 2025, and submitted to the Bigfoot research group Rocky Mountain Sasquatch by the individual who recorded it. The witness writes, quote, "Bigfoot, watching my dog play in the Eastern Sierras back in May," end quote.
Be careful.
He recalls that the elevation at that location was roughly 10,000 feet, and the sighting occurred the moment he began recording. The man was simply trying to capture footage of his dogs playing when he unintentionally filmed what appears to be a Sasquatch. One of the dogs seems to notice it as well, looking directly in its direction. The dog watches the figure move past, but shows little reaction, quickly returning to play with the other dog. The witness states, quote, "It's very clear this creature has dark-colored fur. It's not clothing. It looks completely natural. I believe this is the real thing," end quote. Rocky Mountain Sasquatch later analyzed the footage and highlighted several key details. They point out that the figure appears to have a domed head, a feature commonly reported in Bigfoot sightings, and that its movement seems far too smooth to be a person. There is no noticeable up and down motion typical of human walking. Instead, the figure appears to glide. The Sierra Nevada mountain range, stretching through California and into Nevada, is one of the West's oldest landscapes and has long been connected to Bigfoot lore. For over a century, reports of strange encounters, unusual tracks, and countless campfire stories have helped keep the legend alive throughout these mountains. Long before the term Bigfoot was ever used, several indigenous tribes in and around the Sierra Nevadas told stories of large, hairy, human-like beings. Depending on the tribe, these entities were described as forest guardians, tricksters, or dangerous wild men inhabiting the high country. What's most important is that these stories were not isolated incidents. They appeared across the region, suggesting that encounters with mysterious figures in these mountains have been occurring for generations. There are many other reports just like this from the area, but if I covered them all, we'd be here all day. I'll leave it at that. Still, this particular video stands out, and when combined with the region's long and unsettling Bigfoot history, it becomes even more compelling. A hiker became lost in a Swedish forest for roughly 30 minutes. While searching for the trail, a sudden piercing scream echoed through the trees.
Okay, what the fuck? That was like voice, but I don't know where. Like, it sounded like it came from if you walk through here. But I have no idea how to walk through there because it's like, I mean, great time to put the camera off, I guess. That's great. Like screaming. That's the second time I've heard screaming. That lasted way longer. No, I'm like pretty lost actually.
More screams echoed from various directions. The hiker recorded the sounds while continuing on, unsure of their source. There were no nearby houses or roads. Later, some suggested the noises could have come from animals, such as foxes or roe deer, which are known to produce eerily human-like sounds. Eventually, the hiker found a clear path and reached safety, though uncertainty remained about whether the sounds were truly just wildlife. This remarkable Bigfoot encounter was originally recorded in 2009, but it has largely gone unnoticed until recently resurfacing on January 9th, 2025. The video's caption reads, quote, "Deer being stalked by a Bigfoot. A man was out hiking when he came across a long gravel path," end quote. After reaching the path in a small clearing, he noticed a group of deer standing motionless. Fascinated by the scene, he began recording them. That's when a massive, unknown presence makes itself known. What appears to be a Bigfoot-like figure emerges, seemingly stalking the deer. Its presence is evident in real time, as the deer remain locked onto it, turning their heads and tracking its movement as it walks along the path. The dark figure comes to a stop and stares down the trail for roughly 5 to 6 seconds before turning and walking away, leaving both the hiker and the deer visibly unsettled. As it retreats, its sheer size becomes more apparent. The broad back, unusually long arms, and what looks like a thick covering of dark fur are clearly visible. Naturally, skeptics have challenged these claims. Some argue that the figure is not a Bigfoot at all, but simply a large person who happened to walk onto the path. They suggest that when the video is paused and zoomed in, the figure appears to be wearing a dark sweatshirt. Others, however, are fully convinced this is a Sasquatch. They point to the unusual gait, the way the arms swing, and the overall proportions of the figure as evidence that it doesn't move like a human. It's certainly an interesting debate. What do you think? Is this just a person whose features are distorted by distance and resolution, or could it truly be a Bigfoot quietly observing both the deer and the hiker? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. While trekking along a secluded forest trail, a hiker feels an odd sensation, as if something is watching them. A rustle in the underbrush catches their attention. With a quick motion, they turn to see a large, shadowy figure crouched behind the dense vegetation. The shape is covered in rough, dark hair, and although it bears a vaguely human-like form, there's something distinctly off about it. The hiker's heart races, driven by a mix of curiosity and instinctive caution. Without thinking, they quickly snap a photo, capturing the figure just before it slips silently back into the thick foliage. Later, when reviewing the image on their camera, the hiker's breath catches. The photo seems to show a creature, large, hairy, and partially obscured, possibly a Bigfoot, lurking just off the trail. Watching them pass by, the realization sends a chill down their spine, leaving them both shaken and intrigued by what they may have encountered in the wild. Here's another fresh Bigfoot sighting, uploaded on November 7th, 2025, making it brand new. The footage is fairly clear, but the figure is partially obscured by thick fog in the area. If you've seen one of my earlier Bigfoot videos, you might recognize a similar clip, where a Bigfoot was spotted in the fog. It seems like these foggy encounters are becoming more common lately. The caption on the video reads, "Incredible new Bigfoot footage. This is the best footage of Sasquatch I've seen yet." And honestly, I have to agree, it's pretty impressive. Within the fog, a creature that closely resembles Bigfoot is visible, an ape-like, yet human-like figure. It approaches the hiker, then turns away, glancing in the opposite direction. That's when the man decides to flee. While the encounter is brief, it still serves as an incredible piece of evidence. The creature appears thick and strong, which is a typical trait of Sasquatch sightings. However, skeptics have been quick to question the footage. Some suggest it could be a man in a costume or the result of some very convincing video effects. They also point to the rise of AI-generated imagery, which has become increasingly realistic. Despite these doubts, the hiker himself denies any allegations of a hoax, insisting the encounter was genuine. What adds to the intrigue is the fact that 2 separate videos showing Bigfoot in a foggy forest have surfaced recently. Both within the last couple of weeks, this has led many to believe even more strongly that these creatures might indeed exist.